This video is about immigration loans, also called travel loans. Most privately sponsored refugees sign a loan agreement with the Government of Canada, which covers the cost of their travel to Canada. There are a few exceptions. First, refugees coming from Israel don't have loans because the Government of Israel pays for the refugees' travel. Second, if refugees book their own travel to Canada, they will not have an immigration loan. This is strongly discouraged, and it's not the typical process. However, self-booking flights may be necessary in the third scenario, if the refugee is residing in a country where IOM, the International Organization for Migration, does not operate. IRCC works with the International Organization for Migration to make travel arrangements for sponsored refugees. IOM organizes a pre-departure orientation in most cases. They book flights, help with exit permits and necessary documentation, and they help at layovers. The loan agreement is usually signed at the refugee's interview with a Canadian migration officer, which is a standard step in the sponsorship application process. The loan agreement is made between the principal applicant and IRCC. If you are sponsoring a case with multiple linked applications, there will be multiple principal applicants, and therefore multiple loans. The maximum loan for each principal applicant is $15,000. IRCC will automatically set up a repayment period that begins 1 year after they arrive in Canada, so the repayment period starts when the sponsorship period ends. The loan is interest-free. The amount of time that a newcomer has to repay the loan and the monthly payment amounts depend on the size of the loan. The payment period tiers start at 3 years for loans of $1,200 or less, and cap at 8 years for loans greater than $4,800. The monthly payments are usually somewhere between $30 and $150. The loan remains interest-free even if payments are missed. The travel loan includes the cost of the flights that IOM books and an IOM service fee of $300 per person. If refugees on their way to Canada need to stay in hotels or have local transportation arranged for them by the IOM, these costs would also be included in their loan. In some cases, the Government of Canada may pay exit permit fees that applicants are unable to pay for themselves. In this rare circumstance, the exit permit fee may be included in the travel loan. However, most sponsored refugees will not receive a loan to pay their exit permit fees. Please note that the immigration loan will not cover excess baggage fees, shipping personal items, pre-departure medical exams covered by IFHP, or transporting pets. Here's an example of a travel loan. This is for a family of 2 adults, a child, and a baby who traveled from Pakistan to Toronto in September of 2025. The cost of the flight was around $1,000 per adult, $830 for the child, and $240 for the baby. The IOM fee was $300 per person. The resulting travel loan was just over $4,300. Sometimes refugee newcomers receive a breakdown of the immigration travel costs, as you can see depicted here, and sometimes they do not. If sponsors want to repay the loan on behalf of the newcomers, they can do so before the sponsorship period is over. ORA can contact IRCC Collections and get details of the loan before they would otherwise be sent to the newcomer. We usually cannot get this information until 6 months into the sponsorship, when IRCC creates the loan account. In cases where the sponsors have the flexibility in their budget to do this, we strongly recommend that sponsors consider paying some or all of the loan if the refugee newcomer will face financial hardship after the sponsorship period is over. However, in situations where the newcomers are financially stable, we suggest you consider directing surplus sponsorship funds to other sponsorships. Thank you for watching this video on immigration loans.